Season 3 is almost here with under a week to go before we get our hands on Warmind and Season 3 changes. So this week we've finally had the final reveal for the exotic weapons that are getting buffed for Season 3. So in this video we are not just going to take a look at the final 3 exotics, but to take a look at all exotic weapons getting buffed in Season 3 that we know of or have seen so far. So the first up was the Graviton Lance. Bungie made the following changes to Graviton Lance, which reduced the recoil of the burst, added some aim assist, and changed it from 3 rounds to 2 rounds. So the second round has had increased damage and will explode enemies, and they've made that explosion bigger. When the enemies explode, we will see some void-filled projectiles that seek out any remaining targets around the area. Next, we have the Skyburner's Oath. When firing from the hip, Skyburner's Oath now lobs slower projectiles at a faster rate of fire that tracks targets and explodes. The tracking function tends to draw projectiles to center mass rather than precision region. So Bungie has reduced the precision scale a bit and increased damage to the body. Precision hits still do bonus damage and overall DPS is increased. The end result is a dual utility weapon that fires hit scan, high damage projectiles whilst aiming down sights, and rapid fire. Lobbing explosive tracking projectiles from the hip, it almost feels like a rapid fire grenade launcher that can transition to a precision death dealer with the press of a button. Third one that we got a glimpse of was the Rat King. Rat King stats improve the more fire team members are running with this weapon. Currently, there is a restriction on Rat Pack where everyone in the fire team needs to have Rat King equipped with a perk to be active. So now Rat Pack will trigger when fire team members have Rat King slotted as their kinetic weapon stowed or in hand. Also, the Rat King has also been front loaded the stat benefit of Rat Pack, so they increase a bit more discreetly with 1 or 2 fire team members. So they increase a bit more drastically with 1 or 2 fire team members. So the base invisibility timer perk Venom has been up to 7 seconds. Also, to optimize the Rat King's DPS, it has been made full auto instead of the 3-round burst to ensure the rate of fire increases can make a difference when running in a pack, because in before no one could manage to get the DPS on the Rat King with a 3-round burst. It was just too quick, so now it's full auto. Next we have the Tractor Cannon. Any target hit by the Tractor Cannon now has a debuff applied that adds suppression and makes the target vulnerable to avoid damage for 10 seconds. Suppression will function as an extra, so in Crucible this will shut down active supers and prevent players from using their abilities. In PvE, this will put most enemies in suppression state where they cower and grovel. The Void of Vulnerability adds a significant weakness to any source of incoming avoid damage. We then have next the Hardlight. Hardlight is inheriting the Borealis damage type reload swap. Holding reload will cycle element damage types in combat. Bounce projectiles have always been a dazzling laser light show, but actually using them to do real work on your enemies around corners or off the walls has been difficult. It's more of a suppression tactic than reliable offense. So now when we bounce bullets around corners and off walls, Bungie have made the Hardlight do double damage. Next we have the Borealis. It's fitting really, as we just talked about the Hardlight and the fact that it's going to be using the same reload swap on the fly just like the Borealis does. The Borealis will be able to break enemy shields with a matching damage type whilst also dealing double damage until the next round or damage type swap. For PvE activities, it gives the weapon a more reliable benefit than Hardlight in both casual mode and higher activities. However, it's not a perk that was meant just for PvE. This behavior also applies to enemy guardians in the Crucible where their supers are active. So if you use a void round to break a shield and or kill an enemy sentinel titan who is actively using their super, you have double damage sniper rounds, meaning 1 hit kills to the body until you die or reload. Before we move over to the last 3 exotic weapon buffs that was revealed this week, I'm just going to add in the Strum and Drang. Obviously that was the very first one we knew about getting weapon buffs. So how's that going to work? So Drang will work in conjunction with Drang. So when you get a kill with the Drang and then swap over to Strang, you'll be able to do 2-shot kills on enemies or fellow guardians in the Crucible. Right, so next up, we're going to talk about the Risk Runner. Currently, the Risk Runner is a very good weapon if you're going up against arc counterparts within the game. So the Risk Runner is getting an arc conduct to increase resistance to incoming arc damage by 50%, and this will also be enabled in the Crucible. Arc Conductor will now activate when the weapon is stoked, but damage resistance will only work when the weapon is in your hands. So next up is the Sweet Business. Bungie is saying if you run this weapon, you'll probably just want to shoot forever. So going into Season 3, Sweet Business will have an ammo infantry cap of 999, and if you use Sweet Business with another exotic Titan chest piece, Akram War Rig, you'll just be able to keep firing this weapon, as Akram War Rig has an auto reload link which steadily reloads a portion of your equipped auto rifles and magazine from reserves. So you will now be able to just keep shooting if you are running with both exotics equipped. So that's going to be pretty dangerous, especially if you're going up against some harder bosses and you just need to keep pressing firing at them. So that's going to be a nice little thing, and you can also use Sweet Business with, I believe it's a set of Warlock boots as well, which will do a similar sort of damage to the Titan chest piece there. Last and but not least, the Darcy. The Darcy now grants 4 times damage once locked on a target. Exact scaling depends on accuracy, difficulty, light level, and etc. Any Crucible combat snipers will also want to give this weapon a try. It's got a 7-round magazine, reduced zoom for closer engagement, and has aim assist stats retuned to be more generous when haven't locked a target yet for better results. So guys, that is all the exotic weapons and buffs that were showed off by Bungie over the last several months, and these buffs are going to become active at the start of Season 3. We also know there is a couple more exotic weapons have had some fine tuning done to them, but we will need to wait a couple more days to get our hands on them to see how they feel and how they react. That is everything for this video. I hope that you've enjoyed. If you have, then a like would be much appreciated, and if you want to stay up to date on Destiny 2, then hit that subscribe button. That would also be very much appreciated. Anyway guys, I have been BlazeThrough Gaming. Until next time, bye for now.